Welcome back to PTVatPHS. Today is Thursday, November 19th, 2020. I'm PTV's Niskio. Topping our show this week, numbers of COVID cases across the country continue to rise, and here in Marshall County, this is no exception. Braxton Burns is continuing to monitor the case count for us here on PTV. There are currently 2,501 positive cases in Marshall County, and thus far, 34 deaths according to the Indiana Department of Health's latest numbers. Marshall County sits right now in the orange level, which will affect athletics. Caleb Deacon will have more on what that means coming up later in the show. If you are an in-person learner, you have definitely seen the shift in students and even some teachers having to quarantine because they were around someone who tested positive for COVID. Every day it fluctuates with students returning from being stuck in quarantine or vice versa. You might have wondered how it would just be stuck in quarantine. Well, now we can actually show you because PTV's Tyler Ritchie is experiencing the quarantine firsthand himself.
Yep, that's right. Just last week, I was in person until I got called down to the office by PHS officials who let me know that I was under close proximity to someone who tested positive. So now, here I am, at home, under mandatory quarantine. But this might be a little familiar with you, considering we are 60 days into the school year.
Definitely not my favorite thing in the world. Because I just had to separate from the people I wanted to hang out with, and it was just kind of lonely. I didn't like it.
Plymouth High School senior Nick Anders is one of many students who has been stuck in quarantine this school year.
Somebody in my 6th hour class tested positive, so I had to quarantine, even though I was 2 seats away, but I had my mask on.
He said the news couldn't have come at a worse time, his birthday week.
I had to miss my last cross-country meet as a senior, so that was rough. I tested negative a couple days before my meet, and they still wouldn't let me come back. They wouldn't let me run. They wouldn't let me come back to school.
I wasn't able to go to swim practice, and then I missed our first swim meet.
PHS junior Charity Harder, an athlete and member of the PTV crew, was forced into quarantine recently as well.
The nurse said that I was sitting next to somebody, but then I was only quarantined for 2 days, so then they said I could come back because they tested negative.
Plymouth High School's first bout with a school-wide quarantine happened last school year, on March 13th.
I had my supplies, and I knew what was going on since we talked about it.
But both agree their recent individual contact tracing quarantine was a lot different.
Well, I definitely was not more prepared than the first time, because I guess the first time I knew it was coming, but the second time it just hit me by surprise.
So right now, I am 7 days into my mandatory 14-day quarantine, and it caught me by surprise as well. The worst thing about this thus far is that I have to miss part of my senior wrestling season that just started. Reporting for BTV News, I'm Tyler Ritchie.
Hang in there, Tyler. We look forward to your return. Well, another change the pandemic has caused is the way lunch is held here at PHS. PTV's Dayton Myers looks into how the adjustments are going.
Ever since the first day of in-person learning, lunch has been held in 2 separate locations, the multi-purpose room and the normal cafeteria. That got us wondering, how are students adjusting and how is the staff holding up with this double-duty dining?
A lot of the challenges we're having now is just making sure everybody picks up after themselves, keeps the cafeteria orderly so the girls can clean tables quickly since we have to clean them so often.
PHS head cook Tammy Southern says the pandemic has sure got her and her team of lunch ladies on their toes this year. The kitchen staff has been serving up lunch in 2 different locations on opposite ends of the school nearly at the same time. So how can they pull this feat off?
We cook a lot ahead of time so we can put it in separate warmers to transport down to the MPR room.
She says they learned right away to expand their horizons to be able to leap over day-to-day hurdles.
Everybody does a different job than they normally do. Everybody serves, everybody cooks, everybody packages. We have to package everything or get it pre-packaged.
PHS junior Michael Norris says he's noticed the extra space the new lunch implementations have created.
There's less people at your table, so the whole cafeteria is less, or the whole multi-purpose room is less crowded, and just the location's different.
PHS senior Nancy Garcia is one of the hundreds of students who now call the multi-purpose room the lunchroom.
At first, in the beginning, it was very slow because we had to wait until our table was called, so the lines were very slow.
Fortunately, that did not last long.
But now I think it has gotten so much better and lines are going way much faster.
You likely have noticed the Red Rock Cafe and separate menu at House is on a hiatus this year. The kitchen staff says it will remain that way as long as the pandemic is sticking around. Reporting for PTV News, I'm Dayton Myers.
The pandemic has taken a toll on many things, but we are happy to report not the speech team nor their competitions. I met with head coach David McKenzie to find out how they are persevering.
Most of our tournaments are going to be virtual, one of two types. Some tournaments we actually are here at the school and we record performances, or from home we record performances and we send them to the tournament.
The other kind of tournament PHS head speech coach David McKenzie says his students are competing in this season is live via Zoom.
There might be 6 contestants in a room with the judge, and the judge watches the performance live instead of recorded.
Due to the pandemic, the speech team is not traveling to tournaments.
Everything's online. We still practice after school most days, but then when we come to a tournament on Saturday, we have to go and split up into rooms where we're able to perform.
Thus far, PHS has competed against Canterbury, Concord, and Bethany Christian high schools without even leaving PHS to compete.
Because it's online, it's actually been really nice. We've had more people been able to join our team than years before because it's allowed schedules to be freed up. So there's both positives and negatives to being online this year.
Next up, Plymouth will take on Concord on the 21st. That same weekend, McKenzie says students will also compete in a national circuit tournament called the Glenbrooks.
Someday we hope to go back to face-to-face tournaments, but that doesn't look like it's going to happen anytime here in the future.
As we all know, Thanksgiving is right around the corner, and everyone is thinking about the food they want and they love. PTV's Aiden Lynn has been busy asking some of you about your Thanksgiving favorites.
One of my Thanksgiving foods that I like is probably ham and macaroni.
My favorite Thanksgiving food is sweet potatoes because they're really good.
My favorite food for Thanksgiving dinner is to make stuffing from scratch. And ever since I was a little girl and I can remember Thanksgiving dinners, my mom and my aunt always made the dressing from scratch, and it took several days to make, and it's just my favorite part. It's so much better than a box.
My favorite Thanksgiving food is probably mashed potatoes and gravy. I just think it's delicious.
My favorite Thanksgiving food is probably mashed potatoes because it goes good with everything.
The PHS Seed Club is gearing up its efforts trying to make the upcoming holidays brighter for students in need right here at PHS. Ever since 2013, the club has helped 1 or 2 local families each year with gifts and food. But due to the pandemic this year, the club decided it was best to stay closer to home and help students right here at PHS that are in need. Teachers and staff are asked to donate $10 towards the cause, and in return, they will be allowed to wear jeans for a whole week to school. If they double their donation, they can wear jeans for 2 weeks straight. The first week of the donation drive will be November 30th to December 4th. The second week will be on December 14th to the 18th. Information will be forthcoming on what the Seed Club will do with all the money raised or how the students will be chosen that the money will go towards. But we all know it will go to students in need to help brighten their holiday. So students, encourage your teachers to donate today. Now it's time to kick it over to our PTV Sports crew.
I'm Caleb Deacon. Welcome back to another episode of PTV Sports. Last week, Governor Eric Holcomb addressed the need for limiting crowds at high school basketball games, as Indiana reached a new high for coronavirus cases. High school basketball and extra activities, including sports, are among the most sacred events in the Hoosier State. But he is mandating attendance at winter K-12 activities in counties with orange and red metrics. Right now, Marshall County is in the orange metric, which means only 25% capacity is allowed in for games. For schools in the red zone, attendance is limited to the participants, coaches, and parents and guardians. Also, PHS is also following the red rules, as you can see on the graphic. PTV Sports Rundown is finally back, but we gotta warn you, not a lot is going on. Tonight, the ladies swimmers take on the Bremen Lions at Bremen, at the diving pool at 5:30 p.m. sharp. And then on Saturday, the Lady Pilgrims take on the Lady Vikings from Valparaiso here at home. The time is yet to be decided on this one, but good luck to both teams this week. Notre Dame is ranked second in the country right now, and last week they played Boston College. Notre Dame was heavily favorites, and rightfully so. But is that how the game went down? Let's go check out my video recap.
Everyone to Chestnut Hill, Massachusetts. It's the 26th meeting all time. They haven't been able to go much. Corner throw. Oh, up for grabs for Skoranek. He caught it even with a flag down with Brandon Sabat. Second and goal from the 13. Book was in trouble, got away again. Finds his man Skoranek for a touchdown. Dave can't have a play in the field. To the corner of the end zone. Skoranek again, and he hangs on for his third touchdown. Look at the Irish. Now to go to Azar. A little trickery to begin the fourth quarter. Avery Davis with some running room down the far sideline, showing his speed. He's into the end zone again. Touchdown, Notre Dame on the run, 3. Final score, the Irish 45, the Boston College Eagles 31.
Shout out to the ACC who granted us clearance to use video for the game. Notre Dame takes on North Carolina November 27th. We'll see you after Thanksgiving break, PHS.
With the school year approaching close to the halfway mark, planning has started for the graduating class of 2021. On Tuesday, seniors will be called to auditorium for cap and gown meetings. Due to social distancing, the class will be divided in half so proper spacing can occur. Seniors with the last name that starts with the letters A through L will be called down at 9:50 a.m. And the students with last names starting M through Z will be called down second at 10:10 to 10:25 a.m. McDonald's this year has already brought us to Travis Scott Burger, but they decided to step it up with making the McPlant Burger as well. If you haven't heard, the McPlant Burger is bringing excitement to vegan, vegetarian, and economically conscious eaters. The burger was crafted as a part of McDonald's efforts to focus on saving communities and making a positive impact for the planet. The burger is made from a juicy plant-based patty and served on a sesame bun with classic toppings. We checked with the local McDonald's here in Plymouth, and they have yet to receive their shipment of the McPlant Burger, so you might have to wait a little longer until its arrival here at PHS. Well, we hope you enjoyed another edition of PTV at PHS. I'm PTV's Niskio. Have a great day and make sure you mask up, PHS.